So I've decided to take another look at my Skeletor with light up eyes Mark 1, and recently I purchased a couple of these candle lights from eBay. As you can see here, they only cost £1 for three, and they're pretty simple things, but the one advantage they do have over some of the other stuff I've been using is they actually come with a tiny switch. So this got me thinking that I could probably improve Skeletor Light Up Eyes Mark 1 by using the switch and removing the battery pack from the back of him. So I took apart my Skeletor Mark 1 and have sort of very brutally butchered the back of him to allow access for a switch, and I've also dug out all of the inside of the toy, removing the spring mechanism, so he no longer has this spring effect on his body. That's all been removed, but this enables me to have a lot more space inside him, and so I can now hide the batteries in there. I did remove the guy's head, and in doing so I've actually completely destroyed this head. It just fell apart. The rubber has completely perished on it, but luckily I picked up a spare head at a shop in Bath a few weeks back, so yeah, I can just use that one instead. So here is my prototype light system. This is using the same red LED that I'd previously used, but I've now used this tiny switch that came out of the little lamp there, and removed the battery pack completely, and just using some sellotape to hold the batteries together. So as you can see now, I have a light that lights up, if you can see that. And only a small battery pack and a very tiny switch as well. So this is all going to be able to be sort of fitted inside the Skeletor. If I switch that off, you can see that the batteries go through the head hole quite nicely, and there is plenty of space in there, if you can see down there, for the batteries to sit inside, and I can now attach the switch on his back. This takes away all of the battery pack hanging over the back of his body that I'd previously done, and should make for a nicer looking figure. So I'm now just going to take this apart and resolder these lights and refit the little pegs into the eyes of the Skeletor for the glowing portion, and we'll see how this guy looks. The first thing to do is to fit the eyes into Skeletor's head. So I've got a screwdriver here, and I'm just going to push it through the eye sockets. You can do this fairly easily. The plastic or rubber is pretty thin at this point, so it doesn't take much to push the screwdriver through, and then you just sort of wiggle it about, and this should create a large enough hole. You can then take one of the little these are missile ends, and push them into the head. There you go, that's gone in pretty easily. You can see that there. So I'll just do the other eye, and then I can get on with sorting out the electronics. There we go, both eyes in place. So now I'm about ready to sort of solder everything in place. So this involves me getting all the wires through the hole in the back so that I can attach the switch. This should be fairly straightforward. Just got to make sure that everything slots in place neatly as I go, which could be a little bit tricky, but I'm sure it can be managed. Go, and then get the other wire through, and I can attach the switch before pushing everything finally into place. So there we have the batteries inside, the light is there ready to go in the head, and there's a switch on the back. So if I just switch the switch, you can see the light goes on. So now I've just got to sort of wiggle this into place and glue the switch in place in the hole there, and that should work. And here we have the final Mark III Skeletor. On the back you can see I now just have a tiny switch sticking out between his shoulder blades. All the batteries are stored within his body, and if I push that switch like so, you can see his eyes light up. Let me just turn off my desk lamp and that'll become clearer. So you can see his eyes are lit up. If I press the button again, his eyes are off. I think this is a much better solution than my original one of having the battery pack hanging out the back of the figure. It's a little bit more complicated to do, and it also means that if I need to change the batteries, I've got to take his head off. So this is maybe just a sort of a one trick thing that I do it, and once the batteries are dead, they are dead for good, because getting his head on and off is a little bit of a pain now that you've got the electrics inside there. But this is a much neater sort of finish to the figure. He looks a lot cooler, and it looks a lot better not having the battery pack on the back. So I think this is the third and final stage of the light up eyes Skeletor. This will be my final one, and if I do any more figures, I'm going to use this technique. So the best thing I've found is to buy these cheap little candle lights. I got 3 of these for 99p, and they come with a flashing LED, which I'm going to use for another project, which I will show you videos of shortly, and also a tiny switch. I know you can buy these switches separately, but I like to do things the cheap way, and I think 99p for 3 switches, 3 LEDs and a set of batteries is probably the cheapest way you're going to do this. So thanks for watching, and I hope this is of use to you customizers out there. Thanks again.